Hi, first grade artists. This week we are going to be learning about warm and cool colors, and we're going to make our own paper weaving. Warm colors are red, orange, and yellow. Cool colors are green, blue, and purple. So I would like you to open up your sketchbook for the first day, and I would like you to find page 15 and 16. You're going to color in the boxes like I did for page 15, and on page 16 I would like you to fill up both sides of the paper with all warm and cool colored items. Alright, first grade, we are going to start today by making some painted paper. We are going to use this in our weaving later. So I'm going to choose a combination of warm and cool colors to use on both of my pieces of paper. If you want one fully warm and one fully cool piece of paper, that's great. I just thought it would be nice to kind of mix it up a little bit. In a minute, you're going to see my dog pop into the video. He apparently wanted to color with me today. Anyway, so I am starting with my oil pastels. And I am making some lines and some different shapes so that my paper is very interesting. I'm going to do this with warm and cool colors. Now that I'm done adding my oil pastel, I'm going to start by watercoloring. You can see I'm spreading out water first. This is going to help save your paints so that you don't use them all up at once, and it helps spread the paint out a lot easier on your paper. I am going to stick with cool colors for the background of this one. I would suggest keeping your paint colors in either cool or warm. You don't normally want to mix warm and cool colors together with paint. So as you can see, I'm spreading out my blue here, and then in a minute I'm going to add some green. I'm going to fill up my entire paper, and I hope you guys have fun because the watercolor is doing what's called resisting the oil pastel, and the oil pastel still shows through. I'm going to do the same thing on another piece of paper, but instead of cool colors in the background, I'm going to use warm. Hi friends, today we're going to do a lot of drawing and cutting so that we can set ourselves up for tomorrow to start weaving. So you can see I have my warm and cool color papers here. In front of me you need a scissors and something straight to draw with. So I'm going to pick my cool color piece of paper for my loom. If you want to pick the opposite, that's great. What we're going to do is we're going to fold our paper to start, and the fold should be facing your tummy, and where it opens up should be facing away from you. This is really important for later. I'm going to get out a straight edge. You could use a ruler or any sort of straight edge like a book of some kind, and I'm going to make a horizontal line going across the top. Again, it should be open at the top. That's really important. Now I'm going to turn my straight edge vertical, and I am going to make my lines going across. Once I make a line, I move my straight edge and I line it up with my new line that I made. And as I'm going down, I'm making sure my paper doesn't move. I'm holding my straight edge down tightly. This is one of the most important steps of the whole project, so you want to make sure that you're really slowing down and taking your time. Once we are done drawing the lines, we are going to cut our vertical lines. So you're going to want to have a scissors handy. You're going to cut your lines up to that horizontal line that's on the top. You don't want to cut it all the way apart or else you won't have a loom. So you can see I'm going to stop, and you're going to continue going all the way down. Once you're all done cutting, you can open it up and you can see that the paper has these slits in here, and that is how we're going to weave with our strips. Alright, so our other piece of paper we're going to flip over, and we are going to make vertical lines going down the paper just like we did with our loom, but instead this time we're going to be cutting the whole strip. So just make sure again you're taking your time, you're making sure your straight edge doesn't move, And once you're done drawing all of your lines, you're going to cut all of these out. All right, first grade friends, we are going to try to weave today. So the pattern is over, under, over, under. You can see that I'm starting over my first one, and every other strip I'm going to pick up and I'm pushing my warm piece of paper through. Sometimes you kind of have to finagle it in there. And then every single time I'm going to pull my strips up towards the top. Now, the pattern for the next row is going to be under, over, which is the opposite of what I just did. You'll see that it'll make a checkerboard pattern eventually, but you can see that it's the opposite here. And again, since I started under, over, now I'm going to make sure that I'm pulling up every other strip, as you can see me doing here. Now, I've had a lot of practice with weaving. If this is something that is not working out great in the beginning, you might have to take a pause and come back and try it again later. But eventually you will get it, I promise. All of my first grade students end up loving weaving in the end, even if you struggle a little bit. So again, you don't want to go the same on the next pattern. Now I'm going to go over, under, over, under. You're going to do the opposite pattern every single time. And you're going to try to fit as many strips as you can in your loom. Wow, that was a lot of work. I'm really proud of you guys. Now what you're going to do is you're going to want to go find a glue bottle so that we can glue our strips down. All right, now that I have my glue bottle, what we're going to do is we're going to lift up each end and we're going to just put a little dot of glue. That way the strips really are secure and they don't move. Again, you just need a tiny little dot of glue and you should probably hold it down for about 5 to 10 seconds. You're going to do this on all of the edges on the front, and you're going to flip this over and do the same thing on the back. Okay, friends, we made it to the end of the week. Today, what I want you to do is I want you to turn your weaving into something that you recognize. So I'm going to make mine into a house. You could make yours into a cat wearing a sweater, and the weaving could be a sweater. You could make your project into an alligator and you turn your paper horizontal. It's totally up to you how you want to turn your project into something recognizable today, but I'm going to stick with a house. So I have some scrap paper laying around, and I'm going to use this as all of my little details. So first I'm going to start drawing out some things like a roof and a window and some doors. And as I'm kind of going along here, I'll be cutting and gluing, and then at the end you'll see that I'm using some oil pastel to add some nice texture and some nice details to my house. Again, please be creative. Maybe look up on the internet some different ways you can turn a weaving into something. But again, you don't need to copy me for this day. I would like you to come up with something totally unique and special that you came up with all on your own.